Amid the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, Bharat on Wednesday evening organized a virtual G20 summit where global leaders were present and spoke on the war, while condemning Hamas terror group's brutal attack on Israeli civilians. Meanwhile, Bharat expressed its full support to Brazil, who will be taking up the G20 presidency next. Speaking on the war going on in the Middle Eastern region, the G20 members laid emphasis on the release of hostages, humanitarian pauses, and the need for immediate and effective humanitarian assistance to the war-torn Palestinian enclave. During his opening remarks in the G20 virtual summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the instability and insecurity in the West Asia region is concerning for all. However, he said that togetherness of all the leaders today is a sign that the world is sensitive towards such issues and stands aligned to resolve them. Prime Minister Modi further called upon all the world leaders gathered for the virtual G20 summit to ensure that the Israel-Hamas war does not turn into a regional conflict.
हमारा एक साथ आना इस बात का प्रतीक है कि हम सभी मुद्दों के प्रति संवेदनशील हैं और इनके समाधान के लिए एक साथ खड़े हैं। हम मानते हैं कि आतंकवाद हम सभी को अस्वीकार्य है।
Welcoming the release of 50 hostages, Prime Minister Modi hoped for the swift release of all the hostages, adding that the death of civilians in any part of the world is condemnable. Notably, PM Modi's remarks regarding the Israel-Hamas war at G20 virtual summit comes after a deal was reached to release 50 hostages in exchange for a 4-day ceasefire and prisoner swap. Meanwhile, Palestine's neighboring nation, Egypt, has made a strong pitch for the protection of civilians. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said that the international laws must be respected and a political solution was a need of the hour. Speaking at the G20 virtual summit, the Russian President Vladimir Putin called the Israel-Hamas war shocking, while acknowledging the situation in Ukraine as a tragedy. Putin urged the G20 nations to make efforts in order to end conflicts. He further noted that stress caused on global economy is associated with the actions of major developed countries and not Russia. He stated that the great stress experienced by the global economy is the direct consequence of ill-considered macroeconomic policy of certain states. Meanwhile, in his closing remarks, PM Modi, while extending good wishes to Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, hoped that under Brazil's presidency, G20 will continue to move forward with a human-centric approach and that it will continue to work for the expectations of the global South. He also said that G20 members must come together in the spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam to pave the way forward for global peace and stability.
मल्टीलेटरल डेवलपमेंट बैंक्स और ग्लोबल गवर्नेंस में सुधार की तरफ जरूर बढ़ेंगे। क्लाइमेट एक्शन के साथ साथ जस्ट, इजी एंड अफोर्डेबल क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस भी सुनिश्चित करवाएंगे। डेट रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग के लिए ट्रांसपेरेंट ढंग से कदम उठाए जाएंगे। विमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट, स्किल्ड माइग्रेशन पाथवेज, मीडियम एंड स्मॉल इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए विकास पर बल, ट्रॉइका के सदस्य के रूप में हमारी साझा प्रतिबद्धताओं को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमारे दृढ़ संकल्प को मैं दोहराता हूं।